Marco's happiness, but for the happiness of the entirety of the Team Falcons, because that is how they're going to be winning. They tried to go for lane winning matchups initially. It did not work so well for them with the broken walls. And now with the next map that we will be having here in game number 2, which is none other than the broken walls again. We're not really changing anything. So the question is, will we see a change of lineup from Team Falcons, and what kind of adjustment they're going to be doing? Are they going to be putting Super Marco in a 4-5 situation again? Because they seem to be back to a corner when that usually happens.
Yeah, so now with Falcons on the blue side, they take out the Juicin, Kalea, Phoveus. Are they going to rush the Arlot here if it's going to be open for them?
Oh, right.
Yeah, with the CC Farsa gone. Or are they going to try to deny the GOATs lineup that Team Liquid Philippines built and then pick up the YSS instead? So I think that's one of the things they're thinking of. Are they going to steal away the Arlot from Sanford and then make sure that it ends up in the hands of for Flcn? Or are they going to pick up the Yi Sun-shin so that Kyle TZ gets his signature hero of the season, the pick that has saved them multiple times this season, and is one of the reasons why they made it to the playoffs?
This is going to be tough, but at least for Team Falcons, they can pace their way towards getting this first pick. They have a lot of different options here, but you have an idea in mind.
1-1's also open, so what trade are you going to go for?
Oh, wow.
They're going to give OHEB the 1-1 if ever they're going to lock it in, but it's not. Fast blitz for Team Liquid Philippines. They have a very clear idea, but instead of the YSS, it's Lancelot, and now OHEB can go back to playing into the marksman. You're not necessarily required to play fighters here, but you actually still could if there's going to be one open for you.
This is the lineup that has worked for Carl TZ and Team Liquid Philippines. Get heroes that are, very knowledgeable and familiar with the early game meta that we have so far. Getting those turtles are absolutely crucial. It depends. Now that the Arlot is actually there for Team Falcons, it gives Team Liquid Philippines an idea for Sanford's hero on whether or not how flexible it's going to be.
And they can't go 1-1, but they're willing to play 1-1 into the Fred Kimmy. I mean, they're willing to play Fred Kimmy into the 1-1. If ever Liquid do actually want to go for it.
This is pretty unusual,
Yeah.
The 1-1 not picked in the first or in the second for both teams.
Yeah, they want... Okay, we do know that Kimmy is one of those lane bullies at the center of the map. Like, the first trade in the middle minion wave usually goes in favor of the Kimmy, because you're just going to be fronting non-stop. So now Liquid pick up the Alice for Sanford. Potentially, who knows, maybe someone in the scrims cooked up an Alice gold lane, huge throwback.
At this point, I'm not even going to be surprised.
Yeah, back in Season 7 when OHEB made his debut, that was one of his signature picks. So let's see if they're going to go back to that. Now with Gatot Kachi at the center of the map, Alice, EXP, the mid laner pool is wide. I think if you want to counter lineups that want to play fast and bully the center of the map, there is a realm of possibility of Sanji picking up a Selena later on at the 4, or maybe even a Lo Yi if they're willing to play that far back and stretch, even though Lo Yi really just hasn't been good this season as an option.
This goes back as well. Now I'm pertaining to the bans as well. The suppression has been cancelled out by Team Liquid Philippines. So if we're talking about some setups here for Team Falcons, they've already neutralized the situation except for the Kacha, which is still a possibility given that the Lancelot is there, but the threat of having both the Alice and the Gatot Kacha would make it a little bit difficult for the Kacha to at least pull off a Divine Judgment skill towards any of the members of the cavalry just because of a single dash that he has. So maybe some other options, a little mobile agility here for the rest of the members of Team Falcons would definitely help. But in order for them to be able to do that, they want to take out a hero that slows them inevitably whenever the RWM is used, which is this Eve.
All right, so that would have given a lot of struggle for the Fredrin and the Kimmy. Even though the Arlot has that access, it's not like you can final slash and then bring Eve closer to you. She's just going to stand there. She won't be able to press her squares, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, but then with the options that we laid out for Sanji, that could still be very okay to play into. They already have the Arlot and the Fred together. I'm wondering if Oakwin is willing to play something that's a little bit more annoying. Oh, that's why Liquid banned out the Hilda. Okay.
You're talking about annoying,
Yeah.
huh?
So I was actually thinking of the Hilda, and a part of me was thinking maybe Liquid wouldn't care about it, but they were like, you know what, let's just make sure that the Hilda doesn't end up with them. They can't even go for the big pickoff, because if they go for the Kaja, you won't really have the exact burst damage that you want to play. We mentioned the Loyi is an option earlier that gets banned out by Falcons.
Yeah.
I think Sanji can still definitely go either the Selena that we mentioned to help stop the rotations, find those members of Falcons with the traps, or if he's feeling pretty ballsy and you want more damage, just go pump out magic damage with the Lunox in mid.
They're trying to at least suppress Team Liquid Philippines towards their picks here in the mid lane position, because usually we see Luyi and the Eve getting picked up by Sanji to make out of this world plays or maybe out of the box plays, but that's not gonna happen so far.
I wonder if he's willing to play into the Kagura. I think the record for the Kagura not that stellar for Sanji, no wins on it.
Right.
So they save their mid lane pick for later. They pick up the Harith. I wonder if they're gonna go mega greedy sustain and then surprise Angela again at the end of the draft. Because they don't need to get burst anymore. They have the Harith. They're fine with that.
Right.
So
I think for Team Falcons, they tried to do that greedy lineup from game number 1 where it's heavily, lenient towards it. But I get the point. I see the vision here coming in from Team Falcons. If they want to pick off a greedy lineup, they can do that just because of the Alice and the Harith still needing some scaling. Yeah, I felt like that. I think that's the only way for them to be able to stop this.
So what we're going to pick up, you can't go Kaja. Are you forced to play Box or Roam? Then you have a little bit of stop.
Matilda.
Okay, Matilda with the Fred with the Granger. Okay.
Yeah.
I call this old school, a little bit more old school, the sustain.
Yeah.
There needs to be a source of healing and shielding. Oh, it might actually be Angelo for Sanji. If it's not going to be anything offensive like the Selena or the Kagura, you go for defensive and utility. You pick up the Jella. You don't have to worry about an Esmeralda on the side of Falcons. You already see their lineup. An extra Angela means that you get a little bit more sustainability to match the shields that will inevitably be really good for Falcons and terrible for Liquid to go up against if they can't match the sustain. So, they go for damage. They still go for the Lunox that we mentioned earlier. They don't want to match the sustain. They want damage.
A lot of people were pretty much bashing the people who use Angela in the MPL because you give very skilled players a hero that only has a few buttons to press. But with the Lunox, they're gonna go damage. They're gonna try to break through the wall of Kyle TZ and Flap TZ. And together with Ogwen, the Lunox doesn't really care about the shields that will be committed here by the rest of the members of Team Falcons. But for Super Marco, the range finally comes in. He no longer needs to go all out and further engage with the idea of fighting from the distance. And I think based on the Alice and the Gatot Kacha of Team Liquid Philippines, he's gonna have to be really careful about this approach.
Yeah, a lot of crowd control still on the side of Liquid, so it's up to Falcons to not mess this up.
Idea is for Team Falcons to equalize, but Tlph wants to take it. Here are the casters for y'all.
Thank you for the breakdown, Hans and Redmar. Once again, we're about to jump into Game 2 here in this best of 5 between the Clash of the Titans, Tlph, and Team Falcons. It's me, Nyasu, and Leo to bring you the action. And man, I'll tell you what, Game 1 was devastating.
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
But legend has it that when Titans collide, you can't help but get a long series. So Game 1,
that's true.
That was just a taste. I'm here for the whole course.
Okay. All right. I want to believe it too, man. We're sitting at the table for this one. I will say this, though. Looking at the emblem breakdown, looking at the lineup that Team Falcons brought to Game 2, I share the same sentiments with what our panelists said here. One of the great things is the utility they have. They have Matilda locked in. This is much better for Super Marco. He's now got the Granger, so he's got some range to work with.
And the telltale sign that you respect what your opponents brought in Game 1, look at the absurd amount of purifies.
I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure if Flap TZ wasn't on an Arlet, he might have also rocked like a Purify if it was like a CC or something.
Just a 4-man Purify,
Right? Yeah, because again, you can't put a Purify in your jungler. But that just shows you how important crowd control is to Team Liquid Philippines' MO is. When they go into a match, they want to make sure that they don't just have damage. They have ways to dish out that damage efficiently. So you want crowd control, which they still have now in spades.
And that's why I think, the Team Falcons took what happened to them in game 1, and they're like, we're going to go in better prepared for it. So what better way to do that than have a Matilda with you in the hands of Ogun, which can help you be a little more versatile and mobile.
Which I think is an answer to Liquid's, I guess, less crowd control centric lineup.
Yeah.
Upon further evaluation, it's more damage now.
Magic damage.
Even Renmar, I saw drool a little bit, was like, ooh, still the Lunox, really? Yeah. Because that is such a specific choice to make. That's a decision that they made in tandem with their coaches, Coach RC and Coach Tic Tac. Sanford here, going to the back line, throws out that shadow. Ruin, no one home. Few less than half health as Carl just wails away at the turtle, securing it. JP still alive. Revitalize, AOG on out. The brilliance in. Final slash by the Filipino cannon. Sanji falls. So does JP. Falcons clap back.
Oh, they clap back. They do give up that turtle, one in the hands of Carl Tlph, but good pickups here. Grabbing a couple of kills to put him on the board for Team Falcons. A much better start. And I got to say, a much better start just for Flap alone, man. Remember, he struggled on the Alice in game 1. Well, now he's got a double early kill on this Arlot, who's going to be very important for them as they get through this game.
Already you can see how different Liquid's play is when they have less crowd control. They were playing on a clock there. They were counting the moments when they could get away with a turtle take, but Flap wasn't having any of it. They punished him hard for overstaying, because what are you going to do with an angry Arlot on you, man? Like, he is going to just sustain through the damage you were dishing out, especially in the early game.
Yeah, now he's got the Fury Hammer off of that, so a little bit of extra damage and that penetration to go in and help him. So now, if they wait even for the next objective or they try to set something up in one of these lanes, Flap alone is going to be somewhat of a threat. Again, that fight was started off from Sanford deciding to go in on the Alice, popping that Throne of Ruin, and not be able to really catch anything. It was a delayed kind of counter punch, really, from Team Falcons to make it work there. So a great setup. It gives them a very minor lead to go ahead and work with. And mind you, they didn't even really have to use much of their utility. You know, they didn't have to pop all their purifies or anything like that. It's like they backed away from the game plan of Tlph.
Nope.
And they responded accordingly.
Yep, they were very much aware of the turn. They planned for that. And that puts them up 1,000 gold. Liquid now trying to push him back out of their side of the jungle. Kyle Tlph bullying his way towards a small camp steal.
Yep.
Kyle Tlph asserting himself. Traction falls thrown out by Few. There's a taunt by Kyle Tlph. JP accepts a good chunk of damage from Few with half health.
Okay, again, though, a lot. I mean, if that traction pulse was used, it's more like if we could get something, great. If not, that's fine. Flask of the Oasis now picked up here, too, for Ogwin. And the second fight for this turtle, the second turtle of the game is going to be fought for. They're going to go and set things up. Sanford trying to be up that front again. He pops the Throne of Ruin, goes in. Oh.
Dashes on through, but answered by another final slash. Kyle Tlph secures a turtle.
Oh.
They're fighting back. Kyle Tlph goes down. There's a Zaman force. Oheb pushing them back. Down goes Flap. And just like that, Liquid are in the driver's seat. 2 free kills plus a major objective.
They just dissipated that little minor lead, about 1K that Team Falcons had. They got themselves the second turtle. So Tlph will find an answer, and they're going to be looking to take a little bit more if they can here. So Carl Tlph won't be able to grab that buff, but that was a big swing in favor of Tlph from letting things back into the balance, you know, from letting it not slip out for Team Falcons.
And what's dangerous, Joseph, is the fact that they changed nothing about their approach.
It was the same.
Literally the same thing. Oh, we're going to blitz down the turtle and then clap back when we can.
Yeah.
I think they were just checking ranging in the first engagement. And now they know better what Falcons is capable of. They know what Flapteezy is willing to do and are able to sidestep. Exactly. That's it. A missed final slash.
Missed final slash. And you know how many times that Tlph, they're always like that, man. They might, you know, kind of get caught in the early game, but when something like that happens, like a big team fight like that happens, they're able to go ahead and adjust very quickly.
Uh-oh, they catch Sanji. Kenny Brilliance out just in the nick of time, gets it, doesn't spend the flicker. A close call for the chef.
Great for him to keep on to the flicker, too. I was almost half expecting him to use it, but knowing the limitations here, once again, Tlph will go ahead and just set things up 30 seconds away from this turtle. You can already see, too, once the items were coming into place, they've already got those first items being locked in. Oheb, too, could be a problem here if they just let him have his day here.
All right. By dropping the Zaman Force, he does chunk that turret down to half health. Tlph, amazing map control with the small window of opportunity they got to snap themselves into 1,000 gold lead approaching.
Yep.
This is a good look for them going into Turtle 3.
It's funny, man. It's literally what we saw for after Turtle 1 for Team Falcons, now it's the case for Tlph. So we'll see if Team Falcons has an adjustment themselves. Again, they've got so many kind of ways to cover down with the crowd control, with the Purifies here. So we'll see if they can actually take the last turtle of the game for them. Flap's going to be able to jump in, but it's Sanford leading that charge again. What can they do here? Traction Pulse thrown out too. They're going to go.
Jay coming in. Daddy JP, all eyes on him. Salmon Force thrown out as well. 3 go just as quickly. Few is up next. Didn't even get the Purifiers. Marco falls. Baby Cakes doing work. Ooh la la.
And that was a stampede if I've ever seen one. Tlph just completely wrecked Team Falcons in that last turtle fight. It looked like nothing was going well for them, even though they burned the Purifies and everything else. Few didn't get the time to do it, but man, it just seemed like they didn't stand a chance in that team fight.
It's a swing and a miss. You mid-block a low sweep by purifying into a lineup that has so much damage and just the right amount of CC to get it in. One more look at it, and
look at this.
I think Liquid just moved too fast that Falcons wasn't sure if should we go for the turn of the steal. Turn of the steal, and it was too late.
It was a complete, like that is a stampede, man. That's what I'm saying. Like it looked like Team Falcons wasn't sure what they wanted to do with that team fight. And Tlph was like, we don't want to give them that opportunity to even think about it. We're just going to go.
It's an identity crisis on the first date. Like, who am I?
Who are you? You know, and by the time you don't even realize it, the date's done.
What do you want for dessert? Who am I?
I'm back at home, man, you know? I'll tell you what, though, Tlph, it took them a little bit longer to get to this point, but it's more or less the same of what happened in Game 1. They've now got themselves a good, comfortable lead. They've got a couple items, you know, each member here, and you almost, I think this is going to be Holy Crystal for Oheb. Oheb has been nearly untouched. I mean, he's 3-0-2. I don't know if he's even used the Purify much.
And that is a missed opportunity. Oh no, oh no, Liquid! Bear down on a few once more, force him back. Kyle Teasy just acting as the shield for Falcons as another thrown of Rowan. Puts him down to half health. He's backing up. Down goes Flap. Flap sacrificed himself so the rest of Falcons can back off.
Again, how many times can you do this? You know, how many times can you take the punishment if you're Flap Teasy here? He had such a good start in this game too. The double kill off in the early game, but now he's, you know, and you can't blame him. That's kind of his job. He's got to force himself into these situations where he's trying to get a final slash off to give them an advantage.
You know what the hard truth is? Even if this went extremely well for Flap, he's not the one Falcons want to succeed. They want to put money on Few. They want to put money on Marco. And that's not even happening.
It's crazy how different even this Alice is working for Tlph in the previous game, man. And it's, Sanford's not doing anything fancy. He's just pretty much like, he hasn't died, that's one thing, but he's utilizing that Flicker and that Throne of Ruin combo really, really well. That's zoning out Team Falcons. And, you know, trying to put the money on the right heroes here, on the right members, is that much more difficult when you got Sanford up in the front of it all.
But looking at how Falcons is reacting to it, they have 3 Purifies.
Yeah.
So what 40 is doing is essentially canceling and negating these Purifies. Which
like
in turn,
giving a Purify.
Yeah, like baiting a Purify, exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, he just becomes a sexier Uranus. He's just literally standing around them, waltzing around, forcing a response so the rest of Liquid can dish out the damage.
Yeah, I definitely choose Alice any day over the Uranus, you know? That's going to be the case for, I think, a lot of the teams here throughout the playoffs. It was already the case for the end of the regular season, and now we're seeing in the hands of Tlph. Oh, they're just limit testing here for Carl TZ. Again, wanting to get these shields, the Lord is going to go ahead and walk up on the top side. We'll get this Holy Shield down up top. Tlph finding themselves again with a massive lead now at this point, almost 10,000, nearing that 9,000 mark. Tier 2 turrets will fall, and these shields being held onto for Team Falcons. So they're going to have to figure something out quick here, Leo.
They held on to that mid lane inhibitor. The shield there is going to stand for 1 more minute. That's wise for Falcons. I think they did the right thing. Because imagine if you even lost that resource. Imagine just by not touching that siege minion, you would have flubbed and got a free wave clear. Falcons are still in this. I think Falcons are still locked in. I'm thinking of ways that they could clap back. At least number 1, Marco isn't exactly starving. That there is some resources coming into this Granger. Flap Easy, we talked about this so many times. You can miss 99 90% of your final slashes, but if inside your base you can wipe them out with that last one.
It's that one.
It's that one.
Yeah, that one can change the course of the game.
So Cope is alive.
The Cope is alive, but I think in order for it to actually become a threat, they're going to have to get that, the gold and the items over here on Super Marco especially, because yeah, crowd control-wise, you got that covered for Team Falcons. You got a lot of utility. You got to be able to go ahead and capitalize on that. And who is going to be doing that? Super Marco, and he's just not there yet. He was about 2,000 gold behind Oheb. So I think if you're looking at Team Falcons on how they can go ahead and maintain themselves into this game, it's really buying enough time to get Super Marco to the point where he needs to be. We've seen him do it before, man.
Yep.
So you can't count them out completely, even though this is a massive lead right now for Tlph, and they're taking just about everything they want.
It's not impossible. Team Falcons and Team Liquid PH right now, because of this 10,000, 11,000 gold lead, are playing their own little sadistic version of Pac-Man. One of them is dodging, while the other is just moving around, trying to get resources and score up and close that gap. Liquid are doing this very, very disgustingly. Despite the Matilda on the other side, Liquid are so mobile. Again, you have that Gleam, you have a Lancelot that can dash on through, you have an AOG, you have a Gatot Kacha that can go, from point to point, little corners of the map.
Yeah, and he's, like, look at him. JP will just post up, and he can get out that way, too. So Lord's already secured. They might force a fight.
Throne of Ruin, 540, and they're engaging. They do get that engagement underneath that orange. Salmon Force. Not a good look for Liquid to overextend. Falcons back off.
They do. They're going to go ahead and disengage from that, but that was all to get this Lord. Good thing, I will say this, Team Falcons held on to the Purifies. Yeah, a Flicker was burned in that exchange. Flap doesn't have that, but they've got the Purifies ready. They have a little bit of time to go ahead and prep up for this Lord push up top. And Team Falcons, if you really look at this lineup, oh no, are they going to try to make a play? Okay, they did. Ogun did punch forward with that Circling Eagle, but they've got enough time to reset here and get ready for this base defense.
Interesting pivot.
Yeah.
Suddenly turning over to Sanji when he was expecting to turn on Carl DZ.
Yeah.
But I guess they were just buying time, because look, Falcons are forced to Ube to even respond to anything Liquid is throwing their way. They do eventually get to this Lord. JP with the AOG, fighting underneath this tier 3. Not a good look. JP falls.
Oh, they're going to be able to go. Now Sanji in trouble. Takes a shot himself, but Carl, they just want that turret. That's all they're going to be able to get.
2 for 1. Inhibitor falls in mid. Now Kyle underneath Carl's blade. Gets taken down to about half health as they dodge out through the taunt. Catches Carl. The Phantom Execution out.
Oh, and that gave him enough space. Oheb was there to back him up with the Zaman Force, but it looks like that's all they'll get. That's why I'm saying Team Falcons, man, imagine they're down 11,000 gold, but they actually were able to go ahead and defend into that. That base turret up top didn't go down.
It was a 6v5, Joseph.
Yeah.
Lord fell even before Liquid knew that this was a real fight, and it was a matter of, let's just get that mid lane inhibitor. Since Falcon is forced to play together, they can't clear that wave. Liquid just decided we are collateral damage.
Yep.
JP falling, who else died? Sanji falling.
Yeah.
Like, that was the necessary trade for that mid lane inhibitor to fall.
And that's, I think, is that just going to be one of the cases because of the lineup that they have, where it's like they have to throw some bodies at this lineup that Team Falcon has just to get some of these inhibitor turrets down.
I'm guessing it is a one-time sacrifice, a one-time payment. It's not a subscription, Joseph.
Just one time.
Yep, you literally, you do that, it's lifetime. Yeah, you have access to it all the time because they have access to that mid lane all the time.
That mid lane now. Oh, Sanford does jump in with a Gleam, but again, you got to start respecting what this lineup from Team Falcons can do. I think even in a sense, you already saw the preview of damage that they're able to pump out if Tlph somehow overextends. Looking at the items though too, Super Marco, he's still, 1,000 plus gold behind Oheb, but you look at the items he's got, he's in a fighting position now on the Granger.
He is, but it's not optimal. He has what, 2 stacks on that Sky Piercer?
Yeah, not much.
All the while Oheb is up, yes, 1,000 and change, but he hasn't even built his full arsenal yet. So that means he's going for the most expensive version of a gold lane mage.
Yeah, he might as well.
He's got a power spike incoming still.
He's still got it. No.
Oh, they dropped the Zaman Force underneath Kyle T. Traction Falls thrown out. AOG from Daddy JP. And an Abrasive Wrap. Not enough to keep Kyle alive. Look at the back line. Sanji finds Few. and that'll be 2 for free. Liquid chasing down Daddy Ogwin, who's your daddy? So far, JP is lording over all of Falcons as Sanji bites it. 2 for 1, the trade.
That was an interesting trade, too. I know Sanji went down. He was there to zone out Super Marco into the base. This might give an angle for Tlph to get another turret. I'm not sure if they can end it, though. They might push for it.
Uh-oh. Carteezy underneath. Flapteezy doing his darndest to clear the wave. Divert attention away from Tlph. Ending the game. Oheb finds Super Marco. 7-4 underneath the base. Flapteezy up next. And there's just the base left. Waves are crashing in as Liquid smell match point just mere inches away. The base gets cracked. The Cavalry March 4th 2-0.
Another strong game for Tlph. Can't wait to hear what the panel has to say about this one. Let's go.